Hey guys, and welcome back to Angel Education YouTube channel. This is Sunny, and in today's video, we're going to talk about whether submitting an early application to American universities is worth it. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. For those of you who haven't already followed us on Instagram or TikTok, check them out because we put out a lot of useful information and advice on university admissions and education there, which could be really useful to you. But without further ado, a question I get maybe 5-6 emails every week with students asking, is applying early to America worth it? For those of you who are less familiar, in America, generally you have several deadlines. Assuming you're looking to go for some of the top competitive universities, you effectively have 3 deadlines. You have a first deadline of 1st of November, which is the early decision or early action, depending on what university you apply to. Generally speaking, you can only apply to one school, one university by the 1st of November deadline. And generally speaking, statistically, you are significantly higher to get accepted in the early round. Because you're restricted to normally, again, not in every case, but by and large, just to one university and everyone else is, fewer applicants apply. And so statistically, your numbers are going up. And right now on the screen, you can see the different numbers for 2019, for Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, the difference between their regular decision and their early decision. So just judging from the numbers alone, it is worth it. However, it's a bit more nuanced than that. So the first thing you have to remember is that submitting a mediocre early decision application by 1st of November is a lot worse and is a bad idea compared to submitting a stronger application by 1st of January. So if you weren't as 100% organized, or for whatever reasons, your standardized testing, or maybe your school report card isn't great, or your essays aren't as polished as they can be, waiting another 2 months and applying by the usual deadline, which for many universities is 1st of January, although some are a couple of days later, is a better idea. And if your application is truly outstanding, it will be picked up in the regular round. But if it's a bit mediocre, it will 100% be rejected in the early round. Which brings me to my second point, that even though there are fewer people applying in the early round, the caliber of applicants tends to be very high. It tends to be higher than the applicants applying in the regular round. Because in America, for example, through the Common App, you can apply to 20 universities. Many people just apply to all the Ivy Leagues, and then they throw in Stanford, MIT, Caltech into the mix, and they just apply to all of them. Now, if you're applying early decision, generally speaking, you kind of put a lot more effort into those essays and you really invested your time into making that application perfect. And for that reason, the caliber of candidates applying in the early round tends to be much, much stronger. So even though there are fewer applicants, each one of them is much worse news for you because that competition, their level tends to be higher. Another reason why applying early doesn't necessarily make it easier for you is many universities use the early round to recruit predominant number of their athletes or their legacy applicants, people who had a family go to that university, people who've donated money and get in through that sort of with that support. So basically earlier doesn't mean easier, but statistically yes, it is a little bit easier. And generally speaking, if you know that there is one university you really want to go to, there is no harm in submitting an early application as long as it is as good as it can be, and it cannot be improved further, with a couple extra weeks and by applying in the regular round. Now, the third point to remember is that by applying early, you also find out your decision significantly earlier. So most schools that have an offer, have an option of early application, gives you their decision by mid-January, by mid-December. So that's around 15th of December, 14th, 17th, depending on the universities. And what that means is basically you apply earlier, you find out earlier, and if it's great news, then you can pack up for Christmas and enjoy your life and not worry about the applications and the essays and everything else. Another great thing is that if you get in, it means you do not have to submit all of the essays for the other universities because, you already got in, it's your top choice. Why bother applying to universities that you're less excited to universities that you're less excited about? So, that can be positive. However, a catch in that is that if you apply and you do not get in, by the way, majority of applicants who apply to competitive universities, Ivy Leagues, Stanford, the majority of applicants applying early get rejected or get deferred into the later round. If you then haven't started doing any of your essays, then you practically just have a couple of weeks in December, over Christmas with school closed and all of that, to complete the majority of your applications, which is just insane. You're either a very well organized, very speedy and very competent writer, or you're going to fail. So majority of people, including myself, are not good writers at speed, and it's pretty much impossible to deliver 8, 9, 10 high quality university applications in that short space of time. Again, this is assuming you're going for some of the most competitive universities. Of course, there are loads of universities that just require a very short optional essay, or maybe there are no extra essays and the Common App is enough, in which case this strategy can indeed work. The last point to kind of consider about the early and the regular decision split is that many schools, not all, but many schools that exercise an early application option, that offer an early application option, then bound you to that school. So what it means is that if you get accepted, you have to go there and you have to withdraw from every single other application you were planning on making or you've made already. What this means is you better be sure that if you get accepted by that school, you have to go there, and you will go there. So again, if you're applying to the university that's number one on your list, it doesn't really cause any problems, right? Because you would have gone there anyway. It's your dream university. Hooray, fantastic. However, if you're not as sure about that university, or maybe there are other universities on your list that, where you would rather go, or perhaps you would want to find out, maybe you're a really strong applicant and you're thinking, okay, perhaps I'll get 3, 4, 5 offers and then I can choose the best. And I don't necessarily have a preference at this moment. Or you want to see who will give you a better financial aid package, then you have an issue. And so maybe in these circumstances, it can be better for you and more beneficial to apply everywhere in the regular round and to wait it out and see what happens. So guys, if you're planning on applying early decision for America in 2021, your deadline is 1st of November. Test optional requirement. Well, the requirement for SAT and sort of the waiver to make it test optional this year may not be applicable in 2021. So do check keep checking the websites, and it's much better to assume that universities will continue to require the SAT or the ACT, and some universities the subject tests. If you look at the early data that we have from the early round in 2020, yes, Ivy Leagues have accepted a number of applicants, significant minority without standardized testing. However, the majority of admitted applicants did have standardized testing. And so, again, you need a very, very strong and valid reason for why you couldn't do standardized testing. So using COVID as an excuse is not going to work for that long, because there are, generally speaking, safe provisions for you to do the test in most cases. So if you're not going to take the test, have a think for how you're going to justify that. Because the assumption is that if you're a top student, an academic leader who's striving, who's pushing herself to be in the top 1% of her class, why are you not challenging yourself by taking this extra challenge and doing the test? So just bear that in mind for your application. But for now, all the best in your early applications. Let me know in the comments where you're planning to apply early. Don't forget to check out our Instagram and TikTok for more information, more tips and advice on university admissions. And all the best. Take care.